Okay, I think we are live, and I'd like to welcome Lee Cole to our group. This was a small invitational group because we have a really interesting topic and it's very, very new to us. And Lee's going to be introducing a software that he and his team introduced to me, I think about over a month ago, and I was so impressed with it, and I had such fun with it when I loaded it up on my computer. But I suddenly saw that, oh my goodness, in network marketing, there isn't a lot of training for us for LinkedIn. Most of the training is related to offline marketing and online marketing being quite different for network marketing. So I was really thrilled when I saw this. So I invited Lee to come and join our group, and thanks everybody for showing up and taking time out of your day to spend time with us. And I'm going to pass the call over to Lee.
Well, hi guys. Denise, thank you so much. Since we talked about this, I've really been looking forward to it. Just to give people a little bit of background about me, I basically do two things. I run a small business where we create and sell software like social media software. We also train people on social media, a lot of LinkedIn, some Instagram, some Twitter, some Facebook. And I am a network marketer myself, albeit in a different company. And you're in a very fine company, by the way. I know many people in your company. And I use LinkedIn a lot, both for my primary business and my network marketing business. So I'm really familiar with how to use social media for network marketing, multi-level marketing, whatever you want to call it. It's not really different. It's just it has a slight different flavor than if you're an internet marketer. Now, as Denise and I were talking about before the webinar started, I love questions. This is going to be a very informal webinar. I want you to learn a ton. I want you to walk away from here knowing a lot of stuff that you can actually just start right now, use, and find people on LinkedIn for you to promote your opportunity to. So any questions, anything that's unclear, going too fast, going too slow, glossed over something, let me know. There's a chat box, which a lot of you have already used. And thank you for letting me know about the sound and the picture. Just pop a question in there. I'll get to the question, and we want to make this a real learning experience. So with that in mind, let's talk about what we're going to cover. This is really what I think we need to talk about today. So on LinkedIn, like on all social media networks, you have a profile, and we're going to talk all about that. We're going to leave the slides in a minute and actually go out to my account and look at my profile, and I'll tell you about why it's written like it's written, etc. So your profile is what I call your silent salesperson, and it really doesn't matter whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, although you have different kinds of profiles, and in Facebook it works really a lot differently. Or Instagram, for instance. I mean, if you're reaching out to someone, or if someone's trying to decide whether they want to reach out to you, then they're going to look at your profile. And so your profile has to position you as whatever you want to be positioned as, but especially for us in network marketing, it doesn't need to be too glaringly in your face. So we'll talk about the nuances about how to write the profile in a sec, but the profile is where it all starts. Basically, if you have your profile messed up, then the whole thing's not going to work. And my company, we write profiles for people, I mean for corporate people, so we know what we're talking about here. The next thing you do after you make sure your profile is tweaked, it's doing, again, and I know I'm speaking very generally, but it's doing what we're going to talk about when I talk about my profile. The next thing we need to do is you need to beef up your connections. We'll talk all about how to do that. And then finally, you want to target the right audience for your business. So you're in a certain type of network marketing company. You probably, in general, have different kinds of people that you think of would be a really good fit for your business. Okay, so how would you go find them? How would you, what are their defining characteristics or their common characteristics. So be thinking about that, because we're actually going to get on LinkedIn toward the end of the program, and I'm going to show you how to search so you can find the right people. And finally, the really easy way to do all of this, which is use our software. So with that said, let's leave the old boring slides and let's actually go out to LinkedIn itself. So that's me. That's my picture, and this is what you would see right when you log into LinkedIn. Just to kind of show you around a little bit in case you're not that familiar with LinkedIn. This is your news feed. It's very much like your news feed in Facebook or your little tweets in Twitter that you get from everybody. Other important things down here, you can see down here my number of connections, 3,200. Now the way LinkedIn works is this: you have first tier, second tier, and third tier connections. So I know Denise, and she's connected with me on LinkedIn. She is a first tier connection. Now let's suppose that Denise was connected to someone else. Let's give that person a name so I can talk about them. Mary. I'm connected to Denise. Denise is connected to Mary, but I'm not connected to Mary. Mary is a second tier connection. This is like this, I've forgotten what actor people used to play this game about. Denise is called 6 Levels of Separation or something, Kevin Bacon or something like that. But this is that same idea of I know you, you know somebody, they know somebody else, so we're 3 levels separated. So let's say Mary has a friend Bob. Okay, Bob's not connected to Denise and Bob's not connected to me. So Bob for me would be a 3rd level connection. Now just so you understand what you're looking at here, let's see, that 1,204 are my first tier or first level connections. My second and my 3rd level connections plus my first ones all add up to a giant network of over 18 million people. And that is the power of LinkedIn as it grows exponentially. So let's look at profiles. Let's just find somebody on here. Okay, let's just this is totally unscripted. Shauna Hudgen. Look, Shauna is a 2nd level connection. That means Shauna is connected to somebody who's connected to me. Let's go look at this person's profile. They may have a great profile, they may have a okay profile, or they may have a totally horrible profile. I don't know. We're going to go look at them. Okay. Yeah, see, that's not much of a profile there. In other words, the summary, okay, where it shows stuff. I have little boxes from GoToWebinar in front of me, so I'm constantly having to move those things around in order to see what you're seeing. So if there's a little lag, that's what all this clicking is about. Yeah, see, I really can't tell much about that person. Now, it may be that they're just not that interested in positioning themselves on LinkedIn, and that's okay. I'm not saying that everybody has to do this, but I am saying that if they want to use LinkedIn as a tool for getting more people interested in them for whatever reason, this person needs a ton more information down here. Now, one thing I want to point out to you, they do have 500 plus connections. LinkedIn's really cool the way it works. If she had, let's say if she had 129 connections, you'd see the number 129 there. If she had 499 connections, you'd see the number 499 there. At 500, you see 500, but 501 all the way up to 30,000, you just see 500. Now you saw my 3,000 plus connections because I was logged in as myself, but we would never be able to really see how many connections Shauna has. That's important because ideally you want to get over 500 connections so that you look like somebody who has a bunch of connections. But you can see this person has virtually no profile at all. Let's go look at somebody else to see if we can find somebody else who might, well, let's just see who's messaged me lately. Or let's see, I have no, I mean, this is a person in my network. Let's just look at that. See if that will go to his profile or mine. Basically, I'm trying to find somebody else's profile to look at that's not quite as barren. Well, here's mine. Hang on. This is not quite as barren as hers. Let me just type in a name here. Okay. Let's see what this person's profile looks like. Okay, here we go. Got a summary, all right? Now, summary goes all the way down through here. And you notice that current and past places where they work, that's all filled out. So in other words, you can look at this and you can get a really good idea about this person, what they do for a living, what they've done for a living, and you can get a certain level of understanding of who they are and their, okay, so they're an IT person. You can get a certain level of understanding of who they are, and if you were looking for, let's say, a database consultant, this person might jump out at you as you read all of this fairly detailed stuff. You might think, well, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for, and that you might put this person on your short list of people to contact. So this is a good profile. Okay, so the first profile hardly existed. That's a good profile. Let's go look at my profile. Okay, let's see. View profile has, whoops. Okay. So now this is what you would see if you go see me on LinkedIn, minus a few bells and whistles because I'm logged in. You would see stuff that I've published. I do blog on LinkedIn. And you would see my summary. Okay. I use LinkedIn for two purposes. I use it for my primary business, which is a social media services and training for individuals and organizations business. And I also use it for my network marketing business, which I use in a slightly different way. So I have two uses for it. The summary is really all about my social media business. And notice how the summary kind of tells a little bit of a story, not enough to overwhelm you and you got to read a bunch of stuff. There's a limit to the number of characters you can have in a summary, but it tells a little bit of a story. It's not just a resume. A lot of people think that LinkedIn is basically a giant collection of resumes, and a lot of people do it like that. The previous profile we saw was a little bit like that. It wasn't horrible, but it was a little bit like that. That's not necessarily a no-no. But if you want people to actually be able to read and engage with your profile and engage with you, which as network marketers, you really do, because the goal of network marketing is for people to talk to people. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. Then you would want a profile with a little bit more of a story in it. Okay, so for you, if you want to use this just for your network marketing business, it would be what you see in network marketing. Okay, kind of how did you get here? What do you see? You know, you don't have to have all those details about how long you've been, what level you are, and all that stuff if you don't want to. Most people that I talk to in network marketing business, I tell them not to put their company on their profile, because you really would like for people to have to call you up or to have to suggest that you talk to find out details, because this business is all about making personal connections and moving from there. But you can kind of, and you can go to my profile after the webinar is over and actually read this, but you can kind of see how this works, and then it talks about other stuff I've done. And I used to be a mathematics teacher before I started my first business, and I speak French and Spanish. I've got tons of people endorsing me for stuff, and so you can see all that. So number one, you want your profile, it does not have to be like for you guys, you don't want it to be really salesy at all. That's going to be a turnoff. You want it to be kind of a little laid back, a little bit like it's just the facts, but you do want it to tell probably a little bit of a story, have a little bit of a story structure to it. I used to yada yada yada. Then I discovered yada yada yada. And then I decided to yada yada yada. And here's what I got out of yada yada yada. And by the way, if that, I always tell people you need a call to action. If that makes sense to you, if that rings a bell, however you speak to people, if that rings a bell, if that's of interest to you, if you want to know more, contact me at yada yada yada. Okay? See, I've got that call to action down here. If you're interested in our services, just message me here, contact me. It's a company phone number, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So, the profile. Okay, so now we talked about how to write your profile. So you got a good profile. It's positioning you. Now don't worry about all the marketing lingo and all that stuff, but it's positioning you the right way. And the next thing we need to do is we need to beef up your connections. So first thing you really want to do is you want to go find people on here that, you want to use LinkedIn exactly the way it was designed to. You want to find people on here that you already know. You can import your connections from your email account, like if you use Yahoo or Gmail or whatever. I don't do that. I didn't do that. I actually did it once and I had to undo it because it was kind of crazy. But just because I get, in terms of my business, so many emails that it just was unmanageable. If you don't, then you might want to import your emails into your connections, but you probably just want to start off by going through here and thinking about where you work now. I'm going to take a little sip of water while I'm talking. If you're not working full-time doing this, if you have another job or, something that you do, church, some organization, some, neighborhood organization, your neighbors, whatever. It's kind of like the idea that we have in kind of like old school MLM about your warm market. You probably want to go find them right here. You probably, and the way you would do that is you would type their name into there and see if you can find them, and then just, ask them to connect with you. With a lot of people, that's going to give you, according to how big your personal network is, 50, 100 people, something like that, maybe 200 if you really stretch it. But after that, you want to start building your network up to over 500 connections. So remember when I talked about first and second and third tier connections? So let's say that I was a complete newbie to LinkedIn, but I'm connected to Denise. And Denise is connected to Mary. So I could easily leverage Denise's first tier connections. I'm going to show you how to do that, and find a lot of second tier connections that I personally could connect with. So to do that, so if you want to find a person like your boss from your previous job or a coworker, you just type their name in here, hit that, and go find them. If they're on here, you'll very likely find them with a picture. You'll know who they are, and it'll tell you about what state they're in and all that stuff, so you'll know you're connecting with the right person. But now if you want to go a little bigger and you want to connect to more people, let me show you how to do that. See where it says that word advanced? So you come here to advanced search, okay? And let's say there are two different ways of doing this. I'm going to show you one way, then I'm going to show you another way. Let's click second tier connections. And let's suppose that I was interested in, so I think you're in a health and wellness company, if I remember. So let's suppose I'm interested in health and wellness type stuff. Denise, give me a, if you're not muted, for your company, what would be a good description of a certain type of profession or a certain type of business of a person or a career of somebody where if they talk to you about your company, you would think to yourself, wow, they're probably a pretty good fit. Well, what kind of person would you like to talk to?
We could be easily talking to baby boomers, to people who are looking towards retirement,
Okay.
maybe specifically massage therapists or people that were in the arts. Those are just some ideas I could throw out.
Well, let's just use the word massage here. Okay, so let's just see what comes up. So I pop the word massage where it says keywords, and I clicked second tier connections, and then we're going to come down here. By the way, I mean, if you want to get a lot more granular with this, sometimes people want to build up, they're really interested in building up a local team. You can pop your zip code in there, okay? There was some fairly expensive training that someone sold recently about how to build a local team. I pretty much just at that moment saved you from having to buy that. So look at Karen Triana, Rejuvenate Your Skin, massage therapist in Jackson, Georgia, Rebecca Downing. Now notice how I live in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, this is Greater Atlanta area, Greater Atlanta area, Greater Atlanta area. LinkedIn's going to kind of sort of bring you people who are in general nearer to you. It's not always going to work like that, but it's going to kind of sort of work like that. Well, let's say I wanted to connect with Rebecca. We're already second tier connections. One thing that we can do is we can just say connect. Now, whether this works about half the time, all right? But this brings up 100 search results. So, and you don't need to be just reaching out to more than, I would say, about 20 people a day, something on that order. Otherwise, LinkedIn, otherwise you might set off some meaningless alarms at LinkedIn and they think you're just spamming everybody. So let's keep it down to about 20, 30 people a day, something like that. If I hit connect here, then if Rebecca could have her account structured so that if someone wants to connect with her, then they're going to have to provide an email address which will match her email address, whatever email address she has in her settings, before they can connect. Most people don't do that, but some people do that. And you'll know when you hit connect because it won't let you connect automatically. Again, most people don't do that. I find that about 40% of people do that. Let's see what happens. We're going to sit here and click connect. Okay, Rebecca hadn't done that. See how it says invite sent? Now, what Rebecca now sees is right here, I've already accepted all my invites this morning, but Rebecca would see a little red number show up right here. See where this person with a little plus is, and once she hovers over this, she'll come down and she'll be able to click here and accept the person's invitation request. So maybe she'll see me and accept my invitation request. Okay, so what I did originally when I was building out my account for the first time, I just did about 20 or 30 of these per day. I would just connect with people. I'm going to show you another thing. There are people that are called open networkers. I am an open networker on LinkedIn. Let's go back to my profile so I can make this really clear to you. Hang on a sec. Okay, see where it says feel free to connect with me. I never reject anyone's connection request. See, Rebecca just received a connection request, and she could say, Lee Cole, I don't know him, and she could reject it. Okay, she could say, well, I'm not connecting with him. It's okay if you get a few of those. If you get a ton of those, then LinkedIn's going to send you a little message that's basically they send you to a little web page that explains to you not to connect with so many people that you don't know and have you click a thing that says, I don't understand. I mean, that I do understand that I'm not supposed to just connect with people, just a ton of people per day. There are people, however, who call themselves open networkers or open connectors, open networkers, and those are people like me. Anybody on this call can connect with me and I will accept connections. I accept all connections. Why do I do that? I really want to grow my network to be super huge. Takes a little time to do that, but if I just accept whoever comes my way, I build out my network much faster. So let's go back to the advanced search. And let's look at, let's just put in these keywords, let's put in open networker. Let's try that. So we'll put in second tier connections. Look at this. Now see, it's going to go out to these people's profiles and it's going to find those words open networker. You see that word open networker here? This guy's an open networker. That acronym LION, L-I-O-N, means linked in open networker. You can put LION in here also. See this guy Victor, he's an open networker. Nicole is an open networker. These people are all second tier connections to me. So I can feel free. I still would not connect with more than about 30 a day. Okay, I wouldn't shoot out more connections than that. But believe me, connecting with 30 people a day is 900 people a month. With open networkers, you're going to get virtually everybody accepting your connection request, and you're going to get over 500 really fast. Remember, that's our next goal here. We got your profile straightened out. We wrote it so that it positioned you correctly. It read a little more like a story than a resume. Basically, it's your silent salesperson. Somebody comes to your profile, you want them to look at it and think, well, who is this? Why do I want to know this person? Why would I want to reach out to this person? You know, who would they be to me if we were connected? So you want your profile to answer those questions. The next thing you want to do is you want to beef up your connections to over 500. This is a really good way to do it because these people are safe to connect with. They're not going to say, I don't know you. In LinkedIn parlance, we call that an IDK. IDK, I don't know. IDKs are not good. You get enough IDKs, then LinkedIn gets a little ticked off. I mean, you know, don't get all worried about tripping over some tripwire or something. It's not that sensitive. I have purposefully pushed the envelope in so many ways on LinkedIn to find out where the boundaries are. So if you stay within what I'm telling you, you'll be fine. So I'm going to connect with Chris. Look at that. Chris is an open networker, but he wants to have an email address before that's what I was talking about, the email address. Chris probably already has enough connections. That's not being a true open networker. Oh well. Well, let's try Victor. Victor's doing the same thing. And see, there's nothing that I can do about that. Okay, having to put the email address in there because that's how they set up their account on there, and that really has nothing to me. So now Nicole is a true open networker. I sent Nicole an invite. Nicole's going to accept it, and my connections, my first tier connections, that 3,000 plus number that you saw at the beginning of the webinar, that's going to grow. That's how that grows. So you'll want to connect with 20 or 30 people a day, and you'll want to do that consistently every day. It takes all of log in, hit advanced search, hit second tier connections, put the words open networker in there, and I just go down the page. There are 10 of these connection possibilities per page. There are 10 pages, that's 100. This is a free account. You do not need a paid LinkedIn account to do any of the stuff I'm telling you about. I've never had a paid LinkedIn account. It works fine for me with a free account. But I would do a couple of 3 pages of these per day. Once you get in the groove, it's going to take you all of 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes to do this. That's going to build out your connections really fast. So let's see where we are. Now we've built out your connections. Now let's go back and see how we would use this to focus our connections. Once you get over 500 connections, then you really want to focus your connections on certain types of people, certain types of businesses. You know, you're network marketers. So network marketing and being an entrepreneur, network marketing and being self-employed, those two things go together very well because we have to have allied thinking patterns. We can't, network marketers certainly can be employees, but they can't just have the employee mentality of trading hours for dollars, right? So, I mean, they got to have some ability to delay gratification. They got to have some understanding of how to build an asset. I connect with a lot of business owners. Okay, and then just, because business owners understand entrepreneurship. They're entrepreneurs. An amazing number of them are in opportunities like my company and your company. And so you can, once you're connected with them, you can, just send them a message later on saying, hey, I'm doing this. I was wondering if you wanted to know about it. A lot of those people are very, very interested in this. So, we talked about massage. So you may come up with massage therapists. You will also, for your company, say I know about my company, but I don't know about your company. Talk to Denise about focusing this. She said massage therapist. I think that's great for you guys. For me, certain types of entrepreneurs work really well, like restaurants. Restaurant manager. Let's put in restaurant manager. And I'm still on second tier connections. That should keep that. If it doesn't, we'll go back to the advanced search page. Restaurant managers, okay. Here's Tracy Willis, a restaurant manager at Steak and Shake. I can guarantee you she's working some big hours at Steak and Shake and maybe wants to build an income on the side that would get her out of that. Be a nice person to connect with. Just look through here and see if you can connect with people who are entrepreneurs or have an entrepreneurial mindset, or go back to massage therapists and connect there. So in order of events for you guys, get your profile straightened out, get your number of connections built up. Okay, so do the profile first. Don't do anything before you do the profile. Get the connections built up with the open networkers, and then target the right audience. And you can talk with Denise about that. Other people in your company may have some input, for you, or you may already know certain types of people, certain types of professions, et cetera, that you can use the LinkedIn Advanced Search to find. And then you want to consistently means daily, build out, again, at 20 or 30 a day manually, just build out your connections among those people. Now, as you do that, the following is going to happen. People are going to start connecting with you. Okay, that's the beauty of this system. It's not all active on your part. As a matter of fact, now that my account is so big on LinkedIn, I don't really have to do a lot of extra reaching out. I mean, I do, just because I'm still building it out to bigger and bigger, but I don't have to. Every morning I wake up, I got new people reaching out to me about stuff. They want to connect. They're messaging me. We're having conversations. So let's talk about where to take things from there. Now, I mentioned on that first person that I connected with, they're going to see a little red flag up here, or a number or something. I forgot what it is. And it's going to tell them, hey, they got an invitation. They can accept it or not. So where would you find the invitations that you've accepted? Let me show you where to find those. So you come over here to connections, and we're going to click on that. See these filters? Forget this stuff. Look at these filters. So connections only. Click that. And let's click new. So these are new connections. Okay, so these would be people who've potentially reached out to me and connected with me. So one thing you can do is you can go back through here and you can connect with them. Now, 2 days ago means that I messaged her back. I think if I remember correctly, she messaged me and I messaged her back. Doesn't look like any of these people did. So let's say I wanted to, okay, Shai Frankel, let's say I wanted to message him. Let's say, and I use LinkedIn personally so fast I can't remember all the people. I mean, if you got 18 million people in your network, you're not going to remember them all. But let me show you the type of thing you should do when you accept someone's invitation. In other words, someone wants to connect with you, you accept that, and so what you should do there is just send them a message. So say, this is generic stuff. Glad we're connected. Okay. Hi, Shai. Make sure you get their name right. Glad we're here on LinkedIn. And you can see that my typing is not that great. Big deal. He's says founder of Video Stir, whatever that is. Looks like you're in the video business. I have a number of friends in similar businesses. Tell me more about what you do for a living. Lee. Now, you may not have a bunch of friends in video businesses. I do. Okay, so don't lie. And I'm sure I didn't need to tell you that, but I'm just saying. You can say something generic. You could say something like, glad we're connected. I got a pretty big network, or I got a growing network. Just let me know how I can help you in your business. You want to look at these initial messages and the beginnings of these initial conversations exactly like the following. If you've ever been to a meetup meeting or a BNI meeting or a Chamber of Commerce meeting, it's really kind of crass when you just walk in and just start pitching your thing. Okay, I mean, it looks stupid, it makes you look like an amateur, and people, it's very off-putting. It's a lot better when you walk up to people according to how the meeting works. I mean, some of those meetings are highly structured, but according to how the meeting works, it's a lot better if you just walk up to people and say, you see their little name tag, say, hey, I'm Lee. Well, I'm Bob. Hey, Bob, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. What do you do for a living, Bob? Just like you would at a party or something like that. I mean, we're all adults. I'm assuming we all know how to initiate conversations with other human beings. That's what you do. Don't make the LinkedIn thing any more complex than that. Now, if you've been on LinkedIn for a while, if you're going to be on LinkedIn for a while, you're going to be spammed by a ton of people who don't do it right, and it's going to be very off-putting, and it's just life in the big city, and there's no reason to get upset about it. I just ignore that stuff myself. But you're going to see a lot of people who would at this point with Shai put in some big thing about their business. We've got 14 patents pending, and return on equity of yada yada, and you can do yada. Yeah, I can guarantee he's not going to read that, or if he does, he's going to think you're a jerk, and you're never going to get anywhere with him. Okay, so just a friendly, hey, how you doing message. Is everybody going to take you up on that, and is everybody going to reach back to you with that? Absolutely not. They're not going to do that. A smaller percentage of them will. And so that's why you want the daily consistency of reaching out, because you want to start building up that pool of people, them reaching back, and some smaller number of whom reach back out to you. And those are the ones that you continue the conversation with. So let's make sure we spell the guy's name right. That's a pet peeve of mine. Glad we're connected here on LinkedIn. Looks like you're in the video business. I have a number of friends who want to tell me more. Okay, bam. I just sent him a message. Okay, we just connected. Okay, I mean, we were connected before, but we just continued that thing. So that's one thing you want to do, is you want to go through your new connections, and especially when you're new, you want to start opening up those conversations with other people, but do so in a completely generic way. This is why I don't personally suggest you if you're in network marketing, you can. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just personal preference. I don't personally suggest you put a bunch of salesy stuff in your profile, because a lot of people are going to go to your profile and think, I don't think so. That person's just going to beat me over the head and, want to do some hard close thing. People don't like that. All right. Now there's some really good network marketing companies, by the way, who operate on the principle that you get the heavy closer on the phone and all that stuff. If that's what you do, go for it. Okay, I'm just telling you what I do. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying what works for me. You talk to Denise, you talk to other people in your company, figure out what works for you. But really what works on LinkedIn in terms of LinkedIn etiquette, in terms of getting along with people on LinkedIn, in terms of building out these conversations, is build out the relationship first. You don't have to wait 4 months before you tell somebody that you're in a certain company, or say, hey, would you like to see our company's video, or I told you I was doing this neat new thing and could I show you some about it, or you don't have to wait forever to do that. Just wait until they message you back and said, like maybe Shaw messaged me back and said, hey Lee, my business is kind of like yada yada and blah blah blah, and I message him back and say, well, that's really cool, I got some friends who are doing similar things. And I'm in a kind of a related business, social media business, and I do some other stuff. Be happy to tell you about it, when the time's right. So you just take those. You initiate a lot of conversations. It's just like in person, guys. Okay, I mean, it's just like prospecting for your company in person. Just like you go shopping. You go to the doctor, you talk to the receptionist at the doctor's whom you may know. Maybe it's your kid's pediatrician or something like that. You've been going there for years. You already know them, your dentist. I mean, how do you initiate conversations about your deal with real life human beings in person? You do it the same way on LinkedIn. You don't just walk into your dentist with your mouth open, ready to get your teeth cleaned, and then say, oh, by the way, I'm with this company and it's all great, and you're just going to look stupid. So just use common sense. Keep it. It's better to have less pushiness than more pushiness, especially on LinkedIn. So that's how we push these conversations along. People will contact you and want to hear more about what you're doing. They'll want you to send them send them a video, send them whatever your company tool is. I personally try to keep this whole thing really, really simple. See, I got all these, not all of these people are, say, look, wanted to share what I'm currently doing. That's one of my messages in my sequence. Not all these people are going to take me up on it, but, some portion of them will, and enough of them do so that I can, over time, reasonably build out my, my downline in my company in a in a very consistent, purposeful way. Yeah, and that's how you do that. Denise, I would love to make this harder. It's just hard work, but I would love to make this harder. It's really not. It's just basically using LinkedIn in exactly the same way that a professional person would do this same kind of thing in person. Okay, it's just basically not spamming people. You wouldn't walk up to your sister-in-law and spam her with a bunch of junk about your company before you mention the fact that you were doing something cool and, hey, do you want to know about it, right? So any questions about this thus far? My little question box got put up.
I have a question, Lee.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have more than one profile? Like, that is your social media business that you were showing us there. Do you have another profile for your network marketing business, or do you just use that same one there?
Yeah, let me explain that. Because there's some nuances there. Number one, if LinkedIn figures out that you've got more than one profile, they're going to shut both of them down. Okay? So don't do that. Now, I have a slight twist on LinkedIn, okay, because I do use LinkedIn primarily for my social media business, which is, the software business, et cetera, et cetera. So let's look at, hang on a minute, let me get one of these conversations. Let me show you some nuances about what I do and how I kind of get around that myself. someone who's not using LinkedIn for another business, for getting a job, for something like that. I mean, you could make your LinkedIn thing, your profile, all about your network marketing business. Now, again, Denise, I think I can be wrong about this. Plenty of people do it different, but I think it ought to be a little laid back, not in your face, not a bunch of, fireworks about how great your company is and stuff like that. Because I think people get put off by that. I think you need to build a relationship with them first before you start showing them all the good stuff. Um, so you could do that. You can make your profile like that, and then all of your connecting with other people, all of your building out your connections, all of the messaging, that entire thing for you is aimed at getting people inside your company. That's really the easy way to do it. I can't do that though, because I historically have used LinkedIn for another business, but I've got so many connections here, Denise. So I have a little workaround. And this is basically how I build out my business part-time. So let's take a look at this. For my business, okay, and you guys can do this too. For my business, we have an opportunity webinar, which I run. It's all compliant. I got my slides from my company. It's all, totally kosher, and the higher up said, Lee, that's totally cool. We're glad you're doing it, et cetera, et cetera. So what I do is I just go back through my connections on LinkedIn, and I got 3,000. It's going to take me a while, right? I just go through those and I invite everybody to a little webinar, which is Friday night at 8:30. You guys can do that too. You can use GoToWebinar, which is a paid solution. There are other cheaper solutions to hosting a webinar besides GoToWebinar, and there are things called Google Hangouts, which are completely free. And that would be a great way for somebody just kind of getting into this to be able to show their business to other people without paying a ton of money every month for a webinar platform. But this is what I do, okay? So I just go back through my connections. Now these are my first tier connections only, Denise. I do not do this to second tier connections because we're not close enough, all right? Them I try to, over time, turn them into first tier connections. So this guy was just at some point I reached out to him, hey Jay, Lee Cole here, been first tier connections for some time, remind him what I do, and I'm doing this other thing right here where I said, but there's a flaw. See, notice how I tell a little bit of a story. There's a flaw. I'm still trading hours for dollars. Talked to a lot of people about this dilemma in my training, also in the natural course of the day. So I thought I'd do a webinar, talk about my own range of solutions that I've found. And then I invite people to a webinar, and they end up on a webinar every Friday night. And that works like gangbusters. That, for me, is a little more sophisticated way of getting around the fact that I mainly use LinkedIn for my social media business, but I'm also doing this other thing, which is my network marketing company. So Denise, that's how I do that. Now, I would not, if somebody was just starting this from the very beginning, they were brand new to social media, brand new to LinkedIn, may not be brand new to network marketing, whatever, but you're brand new or new-ish to doing a lot of social media, don't set it up like I got it set up. I mean, mine's a workaround because I have a history on LinkedIn doing something else. Now, if you have a history on LinkedIn doing something else, like if you've been using LinkedIn yourself, you got a bunch of connections, let's say you're in a certain career, you're a CPA or something like that, okay? So you got your profile, you got a bunch of connections, you don't want to mess that up, but you do want to leverage the fact that you're already connected with a ton of folks on LinkedIn, and some of them kind of sort of know you. You can do the same thing I did, okay? You can just say, notice what the subject line of the new message, want to share what I'm currently doing. That kind of tells you, hey, I'm doing something else here. It's a little different. It's a little new. I'm currently doing it. It may not apply to the reason that you know me. So basically that, and that little tweak works really well for me. Again, having said that, I wouldn't set out to do it this way if if the slate was just clear for you on LinkedIn. I would just have a profile. I would think through for you guys. I mean, I'm not in your company. I can't really tell you the nuances of why people join your company. But I would, if you're new to your company, I would talk to Denise about this. She's going to know. What do people find important about joining your company? I mean, what's in their heads when they do that? I mean, what's the deal? Health, money, freedom, what's the deal there? And then I would talk about that in my profile. I would basically say, hey, let's use a CPA example. I've been a CPA for the past 20 years. It's a really great job. I love it. I happen to be really good with numbers. Love my colleagues at work, but I knew that there was something different. I just felt like a few years ago, I love this, but there's even more. And I started doing something else, which will yada, yada, and yada, yada. That's where you talk about the hot buttons, okay? The reason people join your company as opposed to somebody else's company, mine or somebody else's. I felt an urge to reach out and yada, 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 yada. And that's worked out really well for me. Still a CPA, but I'm also doing this other thing. And if that is of interest to you, please connect with me. I'd love to talk to you about it and share what I'm doing. If you don't make it sound like a sales pitch, if you don't make it sound like once I get you on the phone, I'm going to talk your ear off until you either hang up on me or join my company, if you don't make it sound threatening like that, you're going to get people who are going to take you up on this. So Denise, I'm in kind of a special situation, but I would suggest that people not create that special situation unless they happen to already be in that special situation. So that's how I get around that. That's how I work the network marketing business alongside my other company. Yeah. And did I answer your question sufficiently?
Yes, I think that's great, and I think it's really important that you keep those connections in that first, what we call touch, exactly as how you've formatted it, because this is business. It is okay to talk about business on LinkedIn
Oh yeah.
compared to Facebook, where in Facebook it's so sidetracked it takes so much longer to get to talking about business. LinkedIn is about business, and it is about connecting. People understand that what you're doing. They don't have a problem if you're polite. And I'll just share one of the things that I've been doing lately is when building out the connections is I just say something to the effect of, thanks for connecting with me just like you do, Lee. Just say, chat a little bit about the person. And then I say, how are you keeping your business in action during the holidays? Is this tough for you? What are some of the things that you are doing? And just asking them a question so that then
that's
I see
really
if they
good
come
stuff.
back to me.
Yeah, that is really good stuff. So basically you're giving them a reason to get back with you. Along those lines, another good thing to do is to just go look at their profile. And just say, I mean, if there's some commonality, I see you live in Dallas. I've got several friends who live in Dallas. How long have you lived there? Or do you like it? Or my friends really like it. Do you like it? Again, it's exactly like being a polite, professional person who's meeting someone in a social situation, and you just ask really lightly phrased, polite questions to get the ball rolling. Absolutely. And then at some point, like you said, this is about business. The cool thing about LinkedIn is you're getting in touch with people who want to, in some shape, form, or fashion, they're here to advance their lives, usually financially. And that dovetails very nicely with network marketing, as opposed
Absolutely.
to, Facebook or Twitter. And I'm not saying they don't on Facebook or Twitter. It's just not why it's there. So you got to wade through all the people who are really there just to show pictures of their dog or the 1,427th marathon they just ran. I mean, that's totally cool. I'm not knocking that. It's just that's why they're there. They're not there to talk about anything having to do with wealth, assets, or money. See, so when you enter into their world and sort of strike up a conversation with them, it can be a little more difficult unless you happen to get into a group of them who are very closely matched to your company. Then, very closely matched to the reasons that you do your company. And there are plenty of people who do really well on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I do some, but Facebook for me is an entirely different thing. But LinkedIn is where it's all happening for me. Um, where you state you're a lion. Somebody said, where do we state we are a lion? We used to tell people to do that specifically. Now we don't. Okay, we suggest that people not say that specifically. People used to, and I used to too. Let's go back to my profile here. Hang on. And you still see a bunch of people doing this. Understand LinkedIn has millions upon millions of users. Right here where it's got my name, I used to, well, doggone it, hang on a minute. Right here where it's got my name, I used to append to the end of the last name, Cole, I'd put a straight up and down bar called a pipe, and then after that I'd put LION or open network or something like that. I took that off because I recognized that a couple of my friends who are heavy LinkedIn users who were doing that got their accounts shut down because then LinkedIn explained to them that that's a big no-no. They used to not care about that. It was always kind of sort of against their terms of service, but they overlooked it, so we all did it. And now they do care about it. So since they do care about it, I'm not doing it anymore. So I would suggest the LION thing you not put in here. That's why I've got this, well, let's look at it the way you would from the outside. Hang on. That's why I've got this. I used to put a lot more specific language in this line right here. I would say I never spam or IDK. I'm an open networker, a lion. I don't put those words in there anymore because I think probably, just from what I've seen, that probably trips some sort of LinkedIn algorithm and may even make somebody come over here and check me out. I'm not doing anything against LinkedIn's terms of service. I just don't, need somebody just looking at my profile just to look at my profile and find out what's wrong with it, okay? So I kind of said the same thing without using the words that we all used to look for. So on the lion thing, I would suggest that you don't do that anymore. That is a change that's happened in the last few months. So if you got some information from 6 months ago or a year ago, something you bought, something you looked at, maybe somebody's still teaching that, they're right. That's the way it used to work. They're wrong now, but they're right in the past. So I used to teach that, but we don't teach that anymore. Great question. Thank you. You guys want to see some cool software that's going to make your lives a lot easier? Somebody say yes.
Oh, bring it on.
I'm going to make sure everybody's paying attention because the software is really, really very cool. Pop in the chat if you want to see some software that's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you and make your lives a lot easier. This is software that we came out with, I guess, a couple of months ago. It's called Soci Amigo. Soci, social, amigo, friend, social friend. And this is really, really, really cool stuff. My partner, one of my partners, the actual programmer who programmed this, he's British. He's got a friend who's kind of a very well-known businessman in the UK. I mean, it's not like Donald Trump, but somebody that people kind of sort of know. And he was having coffee with my friend one time, and he mentioned that his business, his company, had succeeded in getting inside Buckingham Palace and selling them a bunch of stuff. They sell luxury items. That's what that particular company sold. And I mean, they didn't meet the Queen or anything, but they probably met somebody who knew the Queen. And so we all thought that was really, really cool. So this guy that ran this business was very famous for doing this, and he told my friend, my partner, he said, well, this is how I do this. So he uses a combination of LinkedIn, Twitter, and actually messaging people through, or calling them, or direct mailing them, with their address or their contact form or whatever. Those three seem to be kind of a golden triangle of getting other people's attention. You connect with them on LinkedIn, you follow them on Twitter, and if you want to, you can call them up, email them, and say, hey, just reached out to you on LinkedIn and Twitter, just wanted to connect. And in network marketing, you don't necessarily have to go that last step if you don't want to make this really time consuming and salesy. You can just do those first two steps. That's all I use this for. Those first two steps actually work amazingly well to build out my LinkedIn connections with automation in a targeted area and also build out my Twitter following in a targeted area. So I want to showcase this software for you. I'm going to log in. Probably should have been logged in before the webinar, but I just forgot to do that. And let's see my Twitter handle. Now, remember when we were doing our advanced search? Well, a lot of that stuff has been moved to right in here on this software. This is really where that's pulling from. We can scrape. Now, the scraping means going out to the internet and finding out information about people, okay? We use bots. We use basically little pieces of software that act like human beings to do that. The scraping, in case you're wondering, does not occur on LinkedIn itself. It actually occurs on their website. We just use LinkedIn to get to their website. I can connect with them on LinkedIn, so I could just connect. So the thing I showed you with the advanced search and reaching, hitting those little blue connect buttons, we can do that. Or we can connect and follow. And that's what I like to do. I like to connect and follow because that starts to put me on their radar. It's building out my Twitter account and my LinkedIn account all at the same time. We're going to put a generic message in here. Now, your message, the software creates the message for you and sends it out to these people, and they're getting an invitation. Okay, so just like we did with the first person, we talked about how I connected with her, and then I said she'll get a little red number up here, and she'll know she has another invitation coming, and the software is going to do that. So these people, the software is going to do all the searching that we did on the advanced search tab. It's going to find those people. It's going to connect with them with our message. The message needs to be very generic. Hi, we're in similar businesses. Just wanted to reach out to you. Very interested in building out my LinkedIn connection. If I can help you with anyone, help introduce you to anyone in my network, please let me know. So let's write that down. The hi, the hello, so-and-so part, that's taken care of by the software, so we don't need to repeat that. So we would say hello, so-and-so. Software handles that. It pulls their name from LinkedIn. Just wanted to reach out and connect. We're in similar businesses. If I can help you build your network, please reach out to me and let me know. Lee. Okay. Location. We have training. I mean, if you ever end up buying the software from us, we have training that tells you all of what these little things like that button where it says choose file. You can basically scrape. You can't connect with multiple. It's ratcheted down so it's safe for you to use. It's not going to go out and spam a million people all at one time. That would be unsafe for you to use. I mean, LinkedIn would get upset and basically shut your account down. So we got it ratcheted down to where it won't do that. Let's start with Atlanta. And industry. What kind of industry we're interested in. So you're in health and wellness, maybe dentists would be a good idea for you. But how do people think about them? When somebody fills out their LinkedIn profile, they don't say dentists, because we don't say in our language, I am a dentist. We say I'm a dentist. So you went here, industry, and this is true with the advanced search too, use the singular, dentist. And I've already used, I run this once a day, so I'm not, excuse me, I, what I'm saying has to do with this pull down, not that one. I'll tell you about this pull down in a minute. I can connect with up to 100 a day. That would be for scraping. For sending out connection requests, I'd leave it at 25 or less. I'm going to do 5, okay, because we want to watch it run. The maximum connections, remember when we talked about the 500 connections, I showed that first person's profile and I said if they had 128 connections, you'd see the number 128 here. If they had 499, you'd see 499 there. Well, we can target this to people with certain numbers of connections. Any number of connections, 500 or more, 500 max connections, 250 max connections, 100 max connections. Why do we do this? Because we've got a bunch of different people using the software for a bunch of different things. Some of them are social media consultants, and they like to target people who are failing on LinkedIn. In other words, they have 100 or 250 connections or less. That would be defined as failing on LinkedIn. I'm going to leave this as any. So let's look what I did. I've logged in. Granted, hopefully I remembered my passwords. It'll tell me if I didn't. I said I want to connect and follow. LinkedIn, Twitter, I've got a little message here. Let's look at my message, see if it makes sense. I have a copy and pasted message that I use myself, so I don't have to type it every time. So want to reach out and connect. We're in similar business. Reach out to me, Lee. Atlanta, Dennis, I could put in any city I wanted to. I could put in London. I could put in San Diego. And we're going to hit start. Okay, so hang on a sec. So let's hit start. You can't really see this on my computer. This is a new computer. It's a laptop that I'm on right here. And for some crazy reason, I can't make this window small enough so that the bottom of it, which is all the way down here, comes up to here where you can see it. But we've got a little thing here that tells you what it's doing. It says logging in. So it's right now logging in. Now it's working in real time. Okay? It says login successful. Thank goodness I remembered my 2 passwords. Doesn't always happen on webinars. Sometimes I mistype. It says it's searching profiles and search complete, scraping profiles. Okay, it's just give it some time. It's actually working in real time. If you want to do 25, I usually leave this at 25 or less and just do it once a day. In the chosen professions, chosen business types that I'm targeting, which for me are generally businesses that entrepreneurial type businesses, real estate agents, restaurants, stuff like that. 25, I think you're probably looking at this whole thing working in less than 20 minutes or so. It takes, as you could see, it took me, even talking, it took me less than 5 minutes to get it rolling. It would take you, once you actually got used to it, it would take you a couple of minutes to get it rolling. This is one of the first things I do every morning, and I just build out my connections this way. And you can minimize it right here. See, I'm capable of minimizing that, and it will just run in the background and do its thing, and then all of my new connections I've done. I don't have to go over there and do them myself. Now what it's doing now is it's giving me a report. When it gets done, I can save this report right here. And see, it will have scraped all of this information. Here's Neely Thornton, DMD. All this stuff comes from their website. And while we were talking, it went to LinkedIn, it found information about them. It's specifically looking for their website. It goes out to their website. It's looking for an email address. It's looking for a contact page. It's looking for phone numbers, all that stuff. It may not find it if it's not available on the website, or sometimes companies nowadays have it on the website, but they have it in a graphic, so instead of in a text thing, so there's no way for us to get it with software. And it is what it is. It's just a whole lot easier than doing everything manually. But so you're finding these people, you're getting the number of connections that they have on LinkedIn, you're getting whatever information is out there, and it's bringing this back to us in a what we can save as a report, and there are a whole bunch of other fields over here which I don't think I can access this little slider. There's a little slider bar down here which should slide over, and I apologize for that. That's just something goofy about my browser, I think. But let's see. So it's brought back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be done in a minute. So it sent out connection requests to all these people, and then it says all done, amigo. So it is all done. We're finished. And I have that whole laborious process of going to the advanced search, of filling out, the keywords, doing the second tier connections, finding those people, actually clicking with your mouse, connect. It just did all of that. Furthermore, it's found these, if these people are on Twitter, it looks like, these are dentists. They're not going to be heavy Twitter users, but it looks like 2 of them were. It's also gone out and followed them from my account. So they got a notification on Twitter that they are now being followed by me. So that is pretty cool. And it's a very sophisticated piece of software. Under the hood, this thing's sophisticated. From the user's point of view, it's really very simple to use. Any questions about the software anybody needs to ask me? Denise, anything I kind of missed there? See, this is gonna, for you guys, this would front end building out all those connections. So you had mentioned massage therapist. We could have put in massage therapist here. I probably should have. But we could put in massage therapist here, and it's going to go out and find massage therapists in a certain city, start connecting with them, and you would be able to intelligently build out you could build out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of connections with massage therapists in a fairly rapid time frame, like a month or so. And then you could go back into LinkedIn and you could start connecting with those people and saying, hey, how's business? Well, it's been a little slow, and the economy's picking up. Is that helping? Well, it kind of, sort of, a little bit. Well, look, I got this thing that I'm doing that's helping me, and it may be some, a new income avenue for you. See, that would be, to me, I'm not in your business, I'm not in your company. You may have just heard that and said, God, that's stupid. But to me, that would kind of be a rational conversation to have with a potential person for your company. So you could have that conversation on LinkedIn at the right time when I never send somebody to one of our company's tools without their permission, okay? I always say, would you mind if I sent you a quick video to look at? Surely, just shoot it over. Great, then I send it over. So that would be the way that you would follow up with this. But that laboriousness of doing all those connections, this thing is going to do for you. Now, guys, I am in the business of selling software. That's my main business, and I do have this for sale today. If you're interested in this, we're going to go over and look at the sales letter just so you know exactly what you're buying and why you're buying it. If you want to buy it, no pressure here. But I'm going to put into the chat a bit.ly link because it's just a whole lot shorter than the link where we have the URL for the sales letter. But let's put this in here, and I'll show you exactly what you're getting when you buy this. A little slow because it's got GoToWebinar running, but yeah, these are my 2 business partners, Gloria Gunn and Mike Jones. Mike is our friend in the UK. And basically, this will tell you all about Sociamigo. It's going to tell you all about how we automated social selling with this thing. Here's the story about my friend's friend getting into Buckingham Palace. And Sociamigo does the following. It automates what we call the triple whammy, which is connecting with people on LinkedIn, following them on Twitter, and sending them an email. The email does not need to be an in-your-face email. It doesn't need to be a whole big blurb about your business. The way to do it is say, hey, so-and-so, of course, look, hang on a second. From here, You can save this stuff as a CSV file, as a spreadsheet. You can save this stuff as a spreadsheet, okay? And then you can go back through that spreadsheet, find their email addresses if it was available, email them, and said, hey, found you on LinkedIn, connected with you on Twitter, following you now on Twitter, just wanted to say hello. I'm in, and you would kind of refer back to your profile. I'm in a business where I yada, 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 yada. If you're interested in that, just let me know. Again, I would make it very laid back. I would not push at all. Of course, you do what your company tells you to. This will tell you all about more details about what it does. It searches for and connects with your targeted audience on LinkedIn, finds and follows the same individuals on Twitter, crawls their website, looks for emails and contact pages, phone numbers, all that stuff, creates a database, the spreadsheet, prints that out. This will massively increase your engagement, your profile, what we call your profile views or your engagement on LinkedIn. This is my engagement on my profile. That's before SocialMigo. You see I was kind of like there, and after SocialMigo I'm kind of like way up here. That's huge because that's going to increase your reach on LinkedIn. It rapidly and massively increases your followers on Twitter, and that is very important too. You see a little video which will pretty much show you what I just showed you, but this is Mike talking instead of me. And then you get, see exactly what you get, testimonials from people in our coaching group that have used this. And we have a basic model and a pro model. I want to explain those to you. The pro model, these are both currently selling for $27 for the basic, and the pro 30. The price is currently at $39.25. Now the basic model will allow you to connect, and this is for the scraping part too, 25 or less. Okay, so the pro model will allow you to do more connections. Really suggest you keep your connections at 50 or less. 25 might be a little small, 50 or less is fine. The basic model, you don't get the downloadable spreadsheet. You don't get this as a downloadable. Okay, it just does the connecting. Bulk location search, if you want to, now this is for scraping only. If you want to, you could put in a CSV file here with a bunch of cities' names. All right, so you could get like the top 100 cities in the United States. Turn that into a CSV file, put it in here, and then it will scrape dentists in all of those cities. In other words, it will create a huge, massive database for you.
Wow.
That would be cool. I mean, if you want to do some direct mail or something like that, that would be a very, very worthy thing to do. We have instructions, and with the pro level, you get our training that comes with that. Now, the training is more in-depth of what I showed you at the beginning of the webinar. I showed you all how to actually use LinkedIn in a professional way that will yield results. You get even more training. This training is done by my other partner, Gloria, who's been a social media consultant for several years. You get that training added to it. You don't get that with the basic. So there you have it. That is the software. The software is probably not going to be for sale at this price very much longer. It is a really, really cool piece of software. And we're probably going to be taking, I don't know the exact date. Well, we are going to be taking it off the market sometime in the future. The exact date we haven't set yet, because basically I really should be selling this for about twice what it's currently selling for. So it's kind of a, the software has been available for a little over a month, so this is really kind of an introductory price. Any questions I could answer about any of this, Denise, for any of your guys? Or
I'm not sure if I'm seeing questions coming through the chat.
Oh,
so,
you're not. I don't see any. If any of you guys have questions, let us know. I'll read them out. Denise, did you have any questions about this?
No, I think it's absolutely phenomenal because as far as I know, and I may be wrong, but in my experience, and I'm pretty connected to the internet marketing world, there is not a software out there for LinkedIn to come anywhere close to this. And this can just save you so much time instead of manually going through and doing the connections. this is done for you in the matter of minutes, and it's so targeted. I know I've been following your softwares, and your first one was fabulous because, again, there's been no one doing that. But now you've just made it so much more sophisticated with the actual, demographic of business targeting, and I really appreciate what you and your team have done here.
Yeah, it works. I know it's my software, but honestly, it works really, really well. It's amazing how much it works. It's like our child or something. We'll just sit here and just run it and look at it and watch it work because it really does exactly what it says it does, and it is so incredibly useful for people who want to create targeted connections with groups of businesses, with certain types of businesses or certain areas through LinkedIn and Twitter too. It can do that. And you know how, I mean, like your business, if you had, let's say, over time a connection, and this would be entirely possible with, let's say, 1,000 massage therapists all across Canada and the United States. Do you think you could take that and get some people into your company? I think you could.
Yeah, I think we could certainly add a lot of different careers like coaches, etc., and
Oh yeah, yeah,
retirement
yeah.
planners, and there's just such a broad range of people. And people I find on LinkedIn compared to Facebook are just really eager to talk. They just want to get out and connect. I don't sense any of the polarization that used to occur years ago on LinkedIn. In fact, I set up a LinkedIn account years ago, and I just could not get it to work properly, and there was a lot of anti-network marketing. You could feel it on LinkedIn,
Yeah,
and you could certainly experience it, but not anymore.
yeah, let me talk to you a little bit about that because Denise, hand on a stack of Bibles, I used to be a complete LinkedIn failure. I mean, seriously,
Me
I
too.
was pathetic. I hated it. I was good on Facebook. Of course, the thing about Facebook is they have really ratcheted down on reaching out to people. You have to have a new strategy to do that. It doesn't work nearly as well as used to. I mean, you used to be able to do things like, go to Robert Kiyosaki's page or something like that and find somebody and message them who wasn't a friend. Yeah, do that for a couple of days, you're going to find yourself in Facebook jail. There are other ways of getting around that, but Facebook is not, they're not for you doing that. Twitter is cool. But Twitter's very ephemeral. In other words, you got to basically be sitting in front of the computer or your phone doing it in real time. And especially for people who are building out, which a lot of people are building out a network marketing business on the side, they're running another business, they got a job or whatever. I mean, you don't really necessarily have 2 or 3, and they got a family and all that stuff, and who wants to work all the time? You don't have 2 or 3 hours a day to be sitting looking at Twitter. I mean, it gets old. You can do it on Twitter. It's easier than Facebook, but it still gets pretty old. The thing about LinkedIn, you get in front of the right people. You're getting in front of people who are interested in hearing. I mean, if you do it the right way, they're interested in hearing about how to better their lives, and they're receptive to it. But I used to be a complete, absolute, abject failure on LinkedIn, and I was speaking with my partner, Gloria Gunn, right here. This lady right here, who's been doing social media for corporations and VP of marketing types, middle level managers in corporations for years. And this was, I guess about a year ago now. And I was just telling you, I was complaining about how Twitter was okay, LinkedIn was awful. I said, why is LinkedIn awful? And I said, it's just awful. I hate LinkedIn. And so, she straightened me out. And I implemented exactly what she said. And it was amazing. Within about a week, I started to get results. It was like magic. So when Mike got together with us and started talking to us about taking what we were teaching people about LinkedIn, which was all manual, because like a year ago, it's all manual. Mike says, I could automate a lot of that. So really what we did, and Denise, this is the difference. There is some other LinkedIn software out there. I don't particularly like it. People tell me it doesn't work nearly as good as ours. Here's the reason why is because we took our best practices about how LinkedIn actually works and we embedded those into the way the software works. So the software is out there acting like a human being, but it's doing things in the right way. It's doing things in a way that's going to lead to success on LinkedIn. And done right, LinkedIn is a crazy good lead machine for any business, but it's really good for network marketing. I have a few questions here, which I will read out and try my best to answer. How long does the continued training last? It's either 4 or 5 videos worth, and it basically goes into the details of what you need in order to do this. Do we coach with scripts for that? Yeah, we talk about more, I didn't really gloss over some things. I just didn't want you guys to get bored. I could talk about the nuances of messaging on LinkedIn for another hour, but we talk about in more detail about that when you get the pro version with that training. Somebody else said, thanks for the information. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I've not been into LinkedIn for a year and I have to find my Twitter account. I had to do that too one time. And no clue how to use it or hashtags. Yeah, Twitter is super easy for you. Twitter's like, let me say a couple of things about that. One, that's fine that you haven't been on LinkedIn for a year. Just either use what I told you in the webinar, which you can just go through. I mean, I told you how to do it manually. Okay. So either use that, or if you buy this, you use our training and then just do exactly what I said here for real. This is what you need to do. Get your profile straightened out the way I told you to get it straightened out. Don't get it all. Talk to Denise about it. Okay. So I'm just telling you as an outsider, but for your company, talk to Denise about it. Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to give you this information. But what I would tell you to do, okay, if you were in my company or if you were coming to me like for coaching and, I wasn't in your company, I would say don't make the profile really salesy. Don't make it really, people still, that's Gloria asking how the webinar is going. People are still a little MLM phobic. Not phobic, just a little worried that you're going to start talking to them about something that they don't want to know about. You have a little bit of an obstacle to overcome. Okay, so how do you overcome that? You come across as a reasonable, professional person who has a good thing that they're doing, and all you want to do is know if the other person would allow you to share that with them. If they won't, it's totally cool. Still love you, glad you're a connection. Got to move on to the next person. If they will, then you send them to one of your company's tools. It is just that simple. Okay. If get your profile kind of laid back, kind of written like you're talking about your story and what this thing, you don't have to mention the thing, what this thing did for you. For a lot of people, it bettered your health. You don't have to work as much. You're not worried about retirement. It's changing your relationship to time, money, and life. Okay, so you talk about those in generic ways, and then as you develop conversations with people, at some point, ask them, just like you would in person. The way I talk is when I'm talking in person or even online, I say, hey, I'm doing this new thing. It's pretty cool, and then I just mention a little bit of something, not the company name, but a little bit of something that has to do with what it does. Are you interested in knowing more about this? That's all I say. I will do that in person. I'm a little later on today, I'm going to go to the YMCA and work out. If I see somebody there, I kind of sort of know and say, hey, so-and-so, I'm doing this new thing. It's doing yada, yada, and yada, yada. Well, cool, Lee. Tell me a little more about that. That sounds pretty cool. Well, that's fine. I tell you what, and then I just take my phone and I say, just get your phone number or whatever, and I'll send you a video. Y'all know how to do that. So do that. You just do it on LinkedIn. But you want your profile to be non-offensive. You don't want it to scream MLM or something like that because you're dealing with professional people. What they don't want to do is they don't want somebody just hammering them with meaningless messages all the time. Okay, so just act like a pro and build out your connections. Target the right audience. You guys can do this without buying my software. I told you how to do it. All you got to do is look at the webinar again and just follow the steps. Guys can do this. It's really simple to do. If you want to do it faster, buy the software, but you can do it manually. And then just do that. Don't make this harder than it is. It's not harder. The hashtags thing, somebody mentioned hashtags on Twitter. Look, it's not super advanced. It's not rocket science. It's just another way to search stuff on Twitter. You don't need to know that to do what I do on LinkedIn. Okay, the Twitter is just another notification. So somebody gets a notification from Lee Cole on LinkedIn. Oh, that's cool. I wonder who that is. They go look at my profile. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I'll connect with that guy. They get, they're on their phone. They're looking at their Twitter account, while they're waiting to pick up their kid at school. Oh, that guy. That's Lee Cole again. Huh. It's amazing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then if I want to go the extra mile and they got a website with an email, well, here's an email from Lee Cole. I'm totally on their radar at that point. I've done it very professionally. I've done it in a very relaxed way, but I can guarantee you they know that Lee Cole is on this planet. And then we just take the conversation from there if they want to. But the thing is, especially with software, I'm initiating so many conversations per day that it doesn't matter if everybody takes me up on it. Most won't, frankly, but it doesn't matter if everybody does. This is working out really well for me. Okay? I think I got through all the questions there. I might have a couple more. Yep. Somebody says I'm in for the pro. We'll learn more. If you have any specific things, we got great support. So just shoot us a question. We'll be happy to answer it for you. Any other questions? We've been on here a good hour and a half. I generally try to keep things shorter, but not for me, for you guys, because I know you have busy lives. I just enjoy talking about this stuff myself. So more than happy to stay on here and answer more questions, or if we're good, we can we can shut it down. There will be a replay. That takes me about a day to get up. I'll send a link. I'll just put it up on one of our websites. I'll send a link to Denise and she'll send it out to you guys and you can look at it again, and it will stay up for a long time and you can refer to that all you want. I think we're good, Denise. What do you think?
Okay, that's wonderful. I just want to thank you so much for your time. And I know that everyone that attended today, and it is so hard these days to get people together with busy schedules, but I appreciated that everyone did their best and that the replay will be there. And I know that they learned a lot, because LinkedIn is not actually that comfortable for many network marketers, especially, like I said, when they started with a not so friendly experience at LinkedIn, they backtracked and went over to Facebook. But one really important thing that I talk about in my trainings is Facebook, the average income is about $30,000 a year. And in LinkedIn, it's closer to $120,000 a year.
There's a huge difference on average.
Huge difference. And that tells us that we're safe to be there as long as we approach it properly. But with your software, again, we're busy. We're all very busy. With your software, you've taken that down to a short amount of time every day with new leads coming to us that are targeted leads, and I appreciate that, and thank you very much.
Oh, you bet. Well, thank you very much for this opportunity, and again, we'll download this, reformat it, put it up on a website, and I'll shoot you that link tomorrow.
Wonderful. Have a great week.
You too. Thank you guys for being on here. See y'all later.